it comes to landing a job, there are certain do's and don'ts that you need to know before, during, and after you submit that resume. Our next guest, Samantha Buonanno, has experience servicing clients in many challenging industries and is currently the recruitment manager for Masana Care in Wallingford. Samantha, thank you so much for being here. So this is a very important topic because of what the job market is right now, I would say. So let's talk a little bit about your experience. How did you get involved?
I've been recruiting for about 9 years now. I started off in the aerospace and defense industry, recruiting engineers and designers, things like that, and now I'm in healthcare, obviously, so I do a lot with nurses and physical therapists and healthcare professionals, all different disciplines. So I've really done a lot, everything from support staff, entry-level positions, all the way up to executive level.
So you're obviously a pro in this topic.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I've got quite a bit of experience.
Let me ask you, where are you seeing the most job growth, the most job opportunity?
I would say in healthcare, it would definitely be home care. That side of the business is really growing. Patients are being discharged a lot faster nowadays than they have been in the past, and people are staying in their home longer than they have been in the past. So home care nursing is really
a lot of opportunity there. All right, well, let's get to it. What are some tips for landing the job that you want? First, you say, let's talk about what not to say on a job application.
Okay, well, there are definitely some things that you don't want to say.
Okay.
You don't want to say, see resume. Obviously, we know that it's a little bit repetitive. There's some information that's already captured on your resume that you're going to be asked to repeat. But there's also some information that's not on your resume that we are trying to capture. So it's important when you're asked to fill out a job application to fill out everything, fill out all the fields. The more information you provide us with, the better. And all that information really does play into the hiring decision.
So what happens if you get fired from a job or you leave for personal reasons? Is that an option? Can you say that?
I would say never say that you've left for personal reasons.
Okay.
You are going to be asked to kind of explain that if you do get into the interview phase. So you never want to say personal reasons. You want to maybe take the negative reason that you have why you left a job or if you were fired and try to put a positive spin on it. So, you can say, you don't want to say that you left for more money. You should say, I left for advancement.
More opportunities.
More opportunities, exactly.
I see.
So you just want to try to put a positive spin on it as best you can.
All right, that sounds great. So we're moving on to the online job application, which seems to be really popular.
Yeah.
Some do's and don'ts with that.
Well, you want to provide, again, as much information as you possibly can. I think it's important to keep in mind it doesn't go into a black hole.
Someone's actually reading these because you press submit and you don't know where they go.
Every application does get reviewed. You can rest assured, and the technology is pretty reliable, so all the applications do make it to me or to whoever, and they do get reviewed, and things aren't always happening as quickly as you'd like them to. So if you don't hear back right away, it doesn't necessarily mean that we either didn't get your application or we're not interested. It just sometimes takes a hiring manager a few days to, decide who they're going to bring in to interview or to review the resumes that are sent to them.
So if you're doing an online application, can you omit the cover letter? Or is that something you should still take the time to write?
I think it's important to send a cover letter if you have something that's a little bit different on your resume. If you have an out-of-state address and you're maybe going to be moving to Connecticut sometime soon, you want to explain that. Because typically if I get a resume and it's got an out-of-state address, I just think maybe it was a mistake that you applied to one of my positions. Or if you've got any significant gaps in employment, you want to kind of explain that too. Talk about what you were doing from 2008 to 2010.
Because odds are if you get to the interview, you're going to have to explain that.
You're going to have to explain that. And sometimes you may not even get an interview because
that's a big problem, right?
It is.
I would assume.
We kind of want to know what the deal is with that.
All right. So you're in the interview. You got that far. Let's talk about what you should wear.
Well, the first impression is everything. And I think as a rule you should always be overdressed. It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. You should never wear jeans. Regardless of what type of position it is you're applying for, you should never wear jeans. I think as a rule, if you wouldn't wear it to church, you should not wear it to a job interview.
Oh, that's great to live by.
Yeah.
And do you think a certain color? Do you want to stay darker, more conservative, or does not really matter?
I think you don't want to distract the interviewer. You want to keep the person that you're talking to focused on you and on your skills and what you can bring to the table, and not focused on maybe some funky jewelry that you're wearing, or
probably toned down makeup. I would assume.
Toned down makeup, toned down jewelry. I think just kind of keep it simple and classic, and
all right.
Let them focus on you.
Sure. And what else should you bring to the interview?
You want to definitely bring copies of your resume, even if you know that the interviewer has them ahead of time. You want to bring copies. You always want to make eye contact. And you want to be prepared. You want to know about the company and know about the position. And
do your homework, right?
Do your homework. That way you can better sell yourself and talk about what you can bring to the table, what you can bring to the company.
All right, so we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. Tips to really get you hired. We talk about experience. How important is that?
Well, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people have is that experience alone will get you hired, and that's not always the case. Companies are looking for the whole package. The same way you, as someone who's coming to us for a job, are going to be considering the whole package. You're going to consider the benefits that we can offer you. You're going to consider the paid time off. You're going to consider the corporate culture. We're going to consider a lot of different factors about you also.
How do you compensate if you don't have the experience? Maybe you're just out of college.
Well, we look at what else you've done. We look at, other previous work history. Do you have longevity at your other positions? What type of positions have you had? Have they built on each other? Are you trying to put yourself on a certain path to get a certain type of position?
All right.
We look at your references too. If you've got people that, personal and professional, that can say something positive about you, that's a really good thing.
And I think a big tip, especially in this day and age, is all the social networking, your Facebook page, the Twitter accounts. Those are public.
They're public, so be careful what you put out there. Absolutely.
All right, Samantha, good words of advice. We appreciate it. And this information is going to be on our website. You can go to WTNH.com. So coming